Hello, it's Chris from My Stamp Lady, and I'm here with a fun card with the Abstract Impressions bundle. So this bundle is from Stampin' Up, and it's how I got this gorgeous butterfly. And then can you see this background that's embossed? It's impressed into the seafoam cardstock. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that today on this video. Okay, so this bundle is a lot of fun, and a bundle, when you purchase it from Stampin' Up, includes a stamp set and something, maybe a punch, usually a die or a punch, and that coordinate together. So these come together, and if you purchase that now through the end of this current catalog, the 2018-2019 catalog, you'll save 10%. And I'm going to be using this die, this thin-lip die, that does cut out a piece. And here's a sample. I'm going to just pull my card back in and just use the back white side so you can see. This is a sample. I cut it out of a piece of designer series paper, and this is what it cuts out. So in this card, though, I'm going to show you how to use it to create this background. Isn't that cool? This is something new that was introduced in this catalog, the products that allow you to do this. And I'm going to show you how you can add that neat die background to your card. So that's this particular piece. And then we're going to use the butterfly just to cut that out to get the Blackberry Bliss butterfly. Blackberry Bliss, if you've been around Stampin' Up for a while, you'll know that was a color before, and it's back. I love it. One of my favorite colors. And I am been using a lot of that. Okay, and then this is the stamp set. It's a photopolymer stamp set that coordinates with that die in that purchase. Another stamp set that I am going to use is called the Bokeh Dots. This is an interesting stamp set. It just does a background, and maybe you can see on here how that's supposed to look. There are a couple of tricks to getting that background, and I'm going to show you. I haven't used it a lot, but I'm still playing with it and learning how to use it to get this kind of unique background. And I'm going to show you the way that I did it to get this background, and you can see I used it here behind my sentiment piece. Lots to show you, so we better get started. With this, I have half a piece of the thick Whisper White, my favorite. It makes a nice sturdy card base. That's really important to me when I make a card, is that I have a sturdy card base. So almost all of my card bases since we've come out with the thick Whisper White are the thick Whisper White or the thick vanilla. And this one's cut in half on the long side, so a 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2 to get the standard stamp card maker's size card. And then we have the Blackberry Bliss, like I talked about, which I'll cut that gorgeous butterfly out of. And this is a coordinating piece of the twine. Can't remember the name of it right now, but I do have all the names listed. If you're watching this on YouTube, I have them in the description. Otherwise, on my blog, I have links to all of the products I used and the sizes. So you can find that at my blog, mystamplady.com. This is called Petal Pink. It's one of the new colors, Stampin' Up with the introduction of the 2018-2019 catalog, revamped their catalog colors. And this is one of the new colors that's into the permanent color collection, in that it's going to be here until they do another revamp. Then, of course, my little piece of Whisper White there, and then Soft Sea Foam, another color that has been added into the color collection, and I really like it. It's a nice, soft green. Okay, so then we have the coordinating, the faceted dots that I'm going to be used that coordinate with the colors that you're seeing me use here. So that's where I've pulled those together. Let's start off with that lovely little seafoam background, because I'm sure you're wondering, how can you get that with a die that's meant to cut out? Because it does cut out. So what I've used is, this is our Big Shot platform. And if you have a really old Big Shot like I do, it's been around, I've had it for years. I actually repurchased this when we came out with the new platforms. I really like it. It's better than the flip ones. And you can purchase these. They're in the annual catalog. So I have new platforms, even though my Big Shot's pretty old, and they get a ton of use. 90% of the time I'm using that Big Shot. So you take off the thin die adapter. You don't need that for this card, but you are going to be using this Big Shot platform. That's going to be my base. So what am I using? I'm using this little set, and it is called Big Shot Embossing Mats, and it's in the back of the current catalog. I have the page number that I will put up on the screen here for you. And when you get this, you get this blue mat, and what do they call this mat? Let me look. Oh, I wrote in my notes, blue mat. So they probably call it something else. They call it the thin silicone rubber mat. And what I'm looking at is these directions. It tell you exactly what is included in here. Okay, so when you get this, this is wrapped around it, and normally, where do these go when I get them? They go tossed in the trash. Just toss them in the trash. Keep this one. It's a really good idea to keep it. In fact, they have all the directions in English, and if you need the other languages, they're there. And so then what I did, and I could probably just cut this part off, I took, this is for cut and emboss, and this is emboss only. And I just made little notes right on here until I've used it enough that I can remember without referring to it, which isn't yet. So I'm always kind of pulling it back out and checking what do I need to get what I want to achieve. Okay, so for this particular, to get that embossed, you will need your Big Shot platform, like I said, with a thin die adapter gone. Or not used, just taken off. Don't get rid of it. You will need it for other things. So your standard acrylic cutting pad, you know, this one's really kind of warped. I need to rotate that, which I'll do when I use it next, but right now I want to grab a flatter one. Okay, so then my acrylic pad, and then I have my die. Now I want my die to be right here. With this, they tell you to flip it over and put it up the other way. So I'm just going to take a little piece of washi tape because you might be comfortable just, you know, flipping it over and making sure it gets in the right spot. I'm a little, I don't know, compulsive maybe about, I like them in the right spot. So I took a little piece of washi tape and put that in the right so that I know that it'll stay where I want it. Flip that over so the die is up. You're looking at your paper, and we're in the corner here. And then the next thing goes the blue mat, the thin mat, the blue mat. It's the one that's really wiggly. Don't need the thick gray one, so I'm going to set that with that adapter. And then the white impressions pad. I try to remember to rotate this as I use it so it doesn't get a curve. So I'm noticing that it has a little kind of curve to it. And you know what? I just notice it now without even thinking about it because I always watch for those little curves. Run this little sandwich through the Big Shot. Okay, now when you run this through, I didn't have a whole lot of resistance. Look at this. This is the back. You can see all that embossing work it did. So let's just pull this up. Voila! Isn't that gorgeous? It's a nice embossed, subtle background. It's just beautiful. I love that. Okay, so now I'm going to set that aside. Since I have my Big Shot stuff here, I'm going to pull in the magnetic platform. Let's put down that acrylic pad. And we're going to grab the other die, the thin lit one. And this time the cardstock goes down, face down. Let's put that butterfly there. I like to try to remember. You can tell I don't always remember because it's really heavily used in the center. But I try to remember to go up and use my corners a lot too. Okay, so here's that acrylic pad I was going to use the first time that it was kind of warped or it's starting to bow. I make sure that I put that bow up so it's bowing away from my acrylic pad, and that's going to help it straighten out and keep it fairly straight. A little more resistance when you run this sandwich through, but not a lot. One of my favorite things is I love this. This is a cheapo toothbrush from the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, whatever you have. We have a Dollar Tree here, and it works really well. I'm just popping those little pieces out. I love it. It's my favorite way to remove those little die cuts, and they're gone. Okay, so let's set this aside. So I have a few of these pieces done now. Get some stuff out of the way. So let's go back to the stamping. So remember I said I'm using that bokeh dots, and this is our Stamparatus. If you haven't seen the Stamparatus, it is in the catalog. It's a positioning tool. It actually comes with 2 plates. Since I spent so much time talking about that embossing, I'm not going to do a lot with the Stamparatus. I will just give you a quick tip here. I have stuck this. It's positioned onto the top. There's another one that actually comes. I've just pulled it off into one of the plates. I have taken, this is a piece of cardstock from the back of a package of paper I got. I find it stamps a little bit better with a shim So I've just put that in there. It's just a shim. There's nothing special about it. It's cardstock from the back of a pack of paper. I have wrapped my magnet in white masking tape, and this is just so I have like a little handle to pick it up. Okay, so let's put my paper here, and you know what? It's not going to really matter. Just want to make sure I cover it. Yep, good. It doesn't matter. It's going to probably stick to it, but that's okay. I'll just pull it off. So here's that petal pink. There's so much new in this video. I just wish I had time to go into it all, but I don't. So check out, like I'm going to put in the directions below a video I did about our new stamp pads. They're awesome. I do love them. Okay, so with the Bokeh Dots, I have found the best results. The way to get the best results is to not have too much ink on your stamp. So I just use one of these foam brayers, ink it up like this, just to get the ink on there. Because if you have too much ink, it doesn't get that distinctive look, that dimension that you're looking for. And let's just push that down. Okay, so there is the look I have. I think it'll come a little bit stronger as it dries, those dots, and that look should pop out a little bit better as it dries. So, and I have a petal pink background here, and we'll do a banner, and we're gonna take the sentiment from the stamp set. If flowers were hugs, I'd send you 1,000. And, oh, I wanna pull in my Stampin' Pierce pad because that's going to help me get a little bit better image on here with the photopolymer stamp. And there we go. Now I have the sizes of the cardstock on my website, mystamplady.com, and you can find that there. So I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. And this is our triple banner punch, and this is 1 inch wide. So this particular punch takes 1 inch, 1.5 and 2 inch wide that it works. In many of my other videos, I've shown you some ways to kind of get around that so that you could do any size banner that you'd like to do. But I just want a 1 inch one, put that in there and have my little end on there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive on here and just pop that down. And this is going to be a little background for my sentiment. One nice thing about using the liquid adhesive is you have a couple of seconds before that sets. Okay, let's put this thing together. I don't need anything else behind my cardstock here, so I'm going to put some liquid adhesive down, and we'll put that down on the card front here. Like, try to get that fairly straight. Okay, and we'll let that set up. Now, just for placement, just to help me figure out where I want that, let's pick this up, and I'm going to put that about there. I haven't glued it down yet because I'm actually putting this down with dimensionals to give it a little pop. But I do need to put down, I'm going to switch, this was the broader tip, I'm going to switch and use the narrow tip now. So I need to figure out where I want my butterfly, and I think we'll put it about there. So I'm going to use the narrow side here, put down, just glue right in that center of the butterfly's body so I can get some lift with those wings. I don't want them flat down. I want them to be able to lift off of the cardstock and give me a little bit of dimension. This is, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of this product. I'm sorry. It's in with Nature's Poetry. It's in with actually a different suite, but it's Blackberry Bliss, and you know, I love it. And so I have pulled in this thicker baker's twine, solid baker's twine, and I'm just going to put a little bow right here on the edge, and then I'm going to have to trim those tails off, but get those bows to look pretty good there. And if it's a little bit too far over, we'll just kind of go, there we go. So I have put that, moved it over a little bit. And this is in the Rooted in Nature bundle. I just remembered the name of it. So the Rooted in Nature, but it's Blackberry Bliss. And so I'm using that color, so it works with this too. It comes in a set of baker's twine. Let's see, there's, I think Grapefruit Grove, Mint Macaron, and Blackberry Bliss and Crumb Cake. Okay, and if you remember, I said I'm going to use the mini dimensionals, and that's because they're a little bit smaller, and so it's going to stand up on each side of that baker's twine. I don't like that look of like where, oh, it's pushed down and you have a bump in the middle from the baker's twine. So these mini dimensionals are awesome for this because they're smaller and I can get some support on the top and the bottom of this piece. There we go. Let's line that up there. Get underneath that bow, line that up over there. Okay, so now I'm going to pull those faceted dots in and put a few of these. Let's use one of these larger ones here, and we'll put that right in the center of that butterfly. And let's see, then we will do one up here, and then one of these medium-sized ones kind of down here. Okay, there we go. Okay, and one of the reasons that I love the dots is because it just draws your eye across it, and you'll see me use sequins or dots often. I'll use those to finish off my card. And there we have that gorgeous background, that embossed background that you can do with those special pads. And I didn't do it to this one. I'm not going to show this because this video is already getting long, but then I stamped some more of the flowers from that stamp set on the inside just to decorate that inside. And for here I use Calypso Coral, Blackberry Bliss, Petal Pink, Soft Seafoam, and Pear Pizzazz. I'll have all those colors listed on my blog. And that's it. That's how you use that particular die with those new impression pads. If you have any questions or just want some more information about any of these products, be sure to leave a comment below. Or you can always email me, chris@mystamplady.com, and find all the supplies in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com. And on my blog, I have a little more information. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you learned something. Have a good day.